The following is a presentation of the BYU Sports Network.
Tonight, BYU welcomes the second-ranked Utah Utes to Provo. Utah is looking for a final tune-up before regionals. The Cougars have battled injury and inexperience, but look to perform well tonight. It's the final home meet of the season, and it's next on BYU TV. Provo, Utah, it's Gymnastics on BYU television. Today it's a matchup between the second-ranked Utah Utes and the BYU Cougars. What's up, everybody, and welcome to our second and final broadcast of Gymnastics this year on BYU television. I'm Jeremy Jordan alongside the former gymnast from BYU, Marissa Cosgrave. Cougars and Utes, always an interesting matchup in gymnastics. BYU traditionally a top 30 team. They make regionals, sometimes nationals. This year not so much, Marissa. They've battled injury and inexperience. Meanwhile, Utah ranked second. They're looking for a national championship.
Well, it has been a rough year for BYU. Like you said, the injuries have been a major problem for them. They're just looking to go out with a bang tonight. University of Utah ranked number 2 behind Georgia. There's only been one time this season that they haven't been in the top 2. So they're looking to go into regionals at ranked number 2 and looking for that next national championship. Georgia
has won the last 3 national championships. Utah right there in second. They're happy with that, but they want a national title. The best gymnast for Utah on display tonight will be the senior Christina Basquet.
Well, there is a lot to say about Christina Basquet. She's a 7-time All-American. She's won the all-around 7 times this year. She is an amazing gymnast, very consistent, very bubbly, and the Utes are really going to miss her, but we're looking forward to her performances tonight.
For the BYU Cougars, we talked about their inexperience in youth, but sophomore Madeline Johnson's been a bright spot for them this year.
She has. Not planning on competing in the all-around starting in the beginning of the season. She's competed 4 times so far, looking for her 5th time tonight. She's had 4 career highs, one being in the all-around for 38.525, which she scored last meet against Utah State. And we're really looking forward to see how Madeline grows throughout her few years here at BYU.
Roaming tonight on the floor is Robbie Bullo. And Robbie, I know BYU has battled that inexperience and injury, and tonight they look to perform a little bit better than they have this year.
That's right, Jeremy. Coming into tonight's regular season finale, BYU and Utah are headed in 2 entirely different directions. Utah, as you mentioned, number 2 in the nation, looking ahead to the postseason with regionals and nationals, where they could avenge their only loss of the season to the University of Georgia, who's the defending champions. BYU, on the other hand, has been bit by the injury bug all season. Right now, 6 gymnasts on this squad that have been out for the whole year with injuries, including both of their co-captains. But tonight would be senior night, but for the first time in head coach Brad Cattermole's career, no seniors on this year's squad. He's called it the youngest and most inexperienced squad that he's had. So next year, BYU could return all of their athletes, hopefully healthier and with more experience.
Thanks a lot, Robbie. BYU looks to perform well in their final meet of the season. Meanwhile, Utah, they're looking to know where they're going to go for regionals on Monday. It's next. Cougars and Utes on BYU TV.
My name is Danielle Goldman. I'm from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and my favorite event is floor. I like to hang out with my friends. I like to read when I have time. I like to watch movies. The last movie that I saw was Valkyrie. It was kind of slow. I wanted it to be a little bit better, but it was okay. I just got done with the whole Twilight series, and I really like those. I like to listen to any type of music as long as it's not country. That is the one type I just can't deal with. My family consists of me and my twin sister. I also have a younger sister and my parents. It was really fun being a twin. I know everybody says that, but it was awesome. We got along all the time. When I was like 10 or 12 maybe, We went down to Myrtle Beach, and that was the most fun I have ever had. I would love to go back. Somebody who is younger doing gymnastics, it gets better. It was really hard starting out, but just keep at it, keep working. I've learned so much from the sport in and out of the gym, and it's definitely worth it. I would just like to give a shout out to my family and friends back home that I don't get to see very often. Just want to say hey.
Welcome back to the crimson and blue-clad Marriott Center in Provo, Utah for the final home meet of the season and final meet for the BYU Cougars. Utah Utes looking to finish the season strong, and this is their first rotation lineup. They'll start on the uneven bars. Utah Utes will go with Stephanie McAllister. They have not used her a lot on the bars, but today they will. Nina Kim, Jamie Dietzkrieg, Gail Mackey, Daria Bijak, and Christina Basquet.
Christina Basquet, like we were talking about earlier, finishing up the lineup. She has a career high on this event with a 9.975, so we're really looking forward to her performance tonight.
Utah ranked third in the country right now on the bars. BYU, meanwhile, will start right there on the vault with just 5. Madeline Johnson, who we talked about a moment ago. Jennifer Lizo will go third, Daniel Goldman, and Damika Ono. Going second is Mikkel Merrill for the Cougars as well.
And like we talked about with the injuries with BYU, they only have 5 gymnasts competing in this event because they don't have enough to fill their lineup, so all of their scores will count on this event.
BYU 53rd in the country right now. Normally a team that's in the 20s and 30s. This year BYU will not figure into a regional, which is top 36 in the country, and then if you make it out of the regional, you've got to be one of the top 2 teams of the 6 in your regional. 6 different sites for that. And so in nationals, top 12, BYU's made it to nationals about every 1 in every 3 years on average throughout the program history. And BYU this year will not figure into the regionals, but has some exciting youth, one of which is Jennifer Lizos, who I know has improved. That's at least a bright spot for the Cougars that they can look at tonight going into next season.
You know, it has been a tough year for them, but I think the upside to it is they're very young, and a lot of gymnasts have been forced to be put in the lineup and have really proven themselves and really stepped it up. And I think that's one thing that Brad has to be proud of these gymnasts. And I think coming back next year, they'll be even stronger, and they'll have that depth there where they wouldn't have, I think, if they wouldn't have been put in this situation. So the upside to the injuries is that.
Hold on. Okay. Nope.
About to get set here. BYU on the vaults and Utah on the bars. BYU fresh off of a meet against the Utah State Aggies. Utah beat Florida in their last meet as well. And Utah's played a very tough schedule. Facing tough competition right now, ranked 2nd like we mentioned. Let's toss it out to Robbie Bolo, who's with BYU head coach Brad Cattermole.
All right, Coach, you're in your regular season finale tonight. With all the injuries that you've had this season, what do you expect from your team here tonight?
We're just trying to stay on all the equipment. We'd like to see our kids hit every event. If we could get through without having to count a fall, that would be good. We've had meets where we've had events stick, but we're having a hard time getting them all to stick. So the goal tonight is to stay on everything and finish out with our best meet of the season.
And gymnastics is an interesting sport because although Utah is number 2 in the nation, this isn't really a head-to-head thing. It's kind of the athletes on their own. So does your approach change at all tonight since it's Utah?
No, it doesn't change no matter what it is. You're competing for a score. Doesn't matter who you're playing. Doesn't matter if it's the 120th team in the nation or the 1st team in the nation. The name of the game is score the highest score you can score.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Let's stay on the equipment, Brad Cattermole says, and he's taken this season with a very positive attitude. You know, we've had some injuries. That happens in gymnastics. If you're going to be a gymnast, you're going to get hurt, you know, firsthand.
That is true. I mean, it's probably one of the, I would think, the highest injury rate in any sport, but it's difficult. You're pounding your body into these, each event and your body, the landings, it just takes a toll on your body over time.
So waiting for the Cougars and Utes to start in this one, and the Red Rocks about to go. And Utah goes by this nickname of Red Rocks in gymnastics in 1992. That team was very good, and they nicknamed themselves the Red Rocks, and so they go by that. And they are here in the Marriott Center tonight. First up for BYU on the vault, Madeline Johnson, fresh off of a career high against Utah State, a 9.575, her highest of the season and career there on the vault. Madeline's from Park City, 5'3" sophomore, trained at All-American Gymnastics with Academy.
Madeline competes a Yurchenko layout, which she wasn't originally in the vault lineup to begin with. So that's, you know, it's a decent score for somebody having to count one. It's a safe vault. Hopefully by, the next couple years she'll be able to add some twisting into that and increase the start value on this.
And with only 5 going, go with something solid, something you can hopefully get a 9.6, 9.7.
Exactly.
Stephanie McAllister will now go for Utah. 5'2" freshman from Indianapolis, Indiana, former U.S. Junior Olympic all-around champion. 9.85 is her season and career high as a freshman here.
Starting out for the Utes on bars, it's a very consistent spot to be in. They put one of the most consistent gymnasts up to get the team rolling, to get the scores up there. Doing a good job so far on that routine.
McAllister did not compete in the opening meet against UCLA, but ever since then she has set that career high against Michigan on February 20th. So she starts it off for the Utah Utes. Next for BYU, Mikkel Merrill, 5'3" freshman from Pleasant Grove, Utah. Set a career high last meet in the vault, 9.575.
And Mikkel doing the same vault that we saw Madeline do, Yurchenko layout. And both gymnasts, you can see, are having that big step on their landing, which is going to be a 10th deduction. And that is something that Brad is hoping to get rid of. And especially at this point in the season, those little 10th deductions add up and should be gone at this point. But it's a young vaulting team.
That's why BYU this season has hung more in the 190, 192 final scores instead of being a team that's 194, 195, which is tradition. Going second, Nina Kim. Here you see her career and season highs. Kim, a 5'3" senior from Houston, Texas, trained in the same club in Dallas with Nastia Lukin, the all-around gold medal winner from Beijing. Very good friends with Nastia. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Nastia showed up at their final meet in Salt Lake last week against Florida.
Nina's a very consistent gymnast, very clean, very nice to watch because she has those great lines.
An emotional meet against Florida for Basket and Kim's senior night. Last home meet at the Huntsman Center where they set an attendance record, and they still have a lot more gymnastics to go.
They do. Hopefully, they'll have 2 more meets, and when it comes to nationals, there is the first competition, then there's the Super 6, and then individual finals. So I'm sure they have a lot of gymnastics ahead of them. But it's a very emotional time for those seniors, and that's something that we're lacking tonight is the seniors for BYU. So the emotion isn't quite there that we've seen in years past for the last home meet of the season.
Jennifer Lizel, freshman from Ontario, Canada, has improved in every meet on the vault this year.
And you can see she adds that full twist, landing a little bit low, but she does get that 10.0 start value, so she has a little bit more room to work with. But hopefully by next season, she's a freshman, so she's coming in and improving. You can only see what's going to happen over the summer when she gets that strength back, gets some strength and consistency and that experience under her belt.
Next header on bars for Utah, Jamie Dietzkrieg.
Jamie Dietzkrieg next up for the U. 5'3" junior from Hatboro, Pennsylvania, ranked 20th in the all-around right now in the country. 9.925 are her season and career highs on the uneven bars.
Each gymnast is required to have 2 release moves and also a level change on the bars going from high bar to low bar. You see her second one, a huge Tkachev. Judges are really looking for those handstands as well. Those are another deduction that a lot of times people don't think when they see the scores, wonder why they're a little bit lower than they thought they would be. They're really strict on those handstands, making sure they hit right up into the handstand. Here's a look at one of her release moves called the Shaposhnikova.
These named after the people who first did them, right?
Yes, any gymnast that competes them for the first time internationally is able to have a move named after them.
How many new moves come out each year? It seems like it's a cycle of the same kind of, 5.
I know Stephanie McAllister does have a move named after her as well.
Oh, really?
Here's Danielle Goldman on vault. Does a handspring front pike.
Goldman going 4th for the Cougars. Only 5. Normally you have 6 on the event, and then you take the top 5 scores. In BYU's case, they only go 5, so you have to take every one of them.
Right, they are lacking in the depth on vault, so they are going to have to count all 5 vaults at this time.
For Utah, Gail Mackey, 5'2" sophomore from Vancouver, British Columbia, competed for Canada in the 2004 Olympics. 2 Olympians on Utah's team. Mackey won, the other Daria Bijak, competed in Beijing for Germany.
Beautiful release move. Mackey was on the Canadian team in 2004. So we see a lot of that international experience on the Utah team. And see how tight each one of their gymnasts are when they swing. See very few breaks, form breaks on their giants. Their toes are always pointed.
That was Mackey going 4th for the U on the uneven bars. Let's take another look at that landing.
A giant blind to a move called the Horkina, named after Svetlana Horkina.
How many American names?
I don't even know.
All European, it sounds like. Kamiko Ono will finish it off for BYU. 5'3" freshman from Honolulu, Hawaii on the ball.
Great ball. That's probably the best one I've seen her compete all year. She looked a little surprised by that herself. It's a very difficult landing because it is a blind landing. So having to have your timing and know exactly where the ground is at all times is very difficult. And take a look at her ball. She has a round up entry, and she has a layout with a half turn. And just takes a slight step on that landing. Great job for Cougars on vault. They went 5 for 5. That's all Brad could ask for, so they did a really good job.
Yeah, he said, let's stay on the equipment. Daria Bijak up for the U. Bijak, 2008 Olympian, like you mentioned, for Germany, 3-time All-American. Has had a sore knee last couple of weeks, but it's felt a little bit better, and the 5'2" junior will compete here for Utah tonight.
She is such a strong bar worker. You can just see everything is so precise and so tight. Beautiful handstand. And dismounts with a double front. Again, a blind landing like we talked about. Great bar set. And take another look at her bars. Nice Delchev for her release move. That's one thing about bars that's nice to see. You see the different types of ways that gymnasts get their requirements on their release moves. You see so many different varieties of release moves coming from the Utah team.
And next up to finish things off for Utah, the 6th competitor on the uneven bars, Christina Basquette. Career high of 9.975, season high of 9.95. Basquette, the 5'1" senior from Normandy Park, Washington, wants to be a professional photographer when all is said and done. And she's actually won some awards from the NCAA. They had a competition among athletes, I believe, and she was published in the book already. And so she's taking pictures of Nina Kim, who is a pretty good artist. So they kind of play off of each other that way.
This is one gymnast that everybody's going to miss watching. She's so fun to watch. Not only is she a great gymnast, but she has such a great attitude, and she's a very fun gymnast and very uplifting for all of her teammates. Always has such a great attitude.
Right now ranked second in the country in this event. And she won this event as a freshman.
And a solid bar rotation for the Utes. Now they will trade places. Look at her bar. She does a toe on heck to high bar. Into her dismount, which is a double layout. Beautiful form and a good landing.
Okay, we'll be back with the rotation 1 scores, and we'll tell you who will be up in rotation number 2. It's BYU and Utah Gymnastics on BYU television.
Hi, I am Ashley Snyder. I'm from Elk Ridge, Utah. My favorite event is vault. Some of my hobbies are probably dancing. I love anything sports-wise, baseball, basketball, anything just outdoorsy. Probably the last movie I saw was Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, the second one. A bunch of us left our club team, so that movie had like a huge impact on like our team, and so it was just kind of like a bonding movie for our team, so we really liked that. I love my teammates here. I came with 4 other club teammates, so I already knew some of the girls, and just getting to know the rest of the teammates have been amazing, and I love all of them. My family is kind of big. I'm one of 6 kids, and I fall being the oldest. My dad was a professional baseball player, and he played for 9 years and was drafted from BYU. And my mom loves the outdoors. My family's very athletic, so every person in my family does some kind of sport. A shout out to my family, of course, my club coaches for pushing me through a lot of ups and downs in my career. Just all my friends and teammates, and I love everyone.
After 1 rotation, Christina Basquette goes 9.95. She's ranked second in the country in this event for a reason. And Utah takes an early lead, as expected, against the BYU Cougars here after 1 rotation. Utah on the bars, BYU on the vault. During today's broadcast, we'd love to hear from you. Send questions or comments to tvsports@byu.edu. That's tvsports@byu.edu. So Utah, a couple of nice individual scores adding up to a nice team score. Meanwhile, BYU getting a solid performance and a career high or 2. Look at Utah's scores so far. The lowest coming from McAllister, 9.75, but Christina Basquette, a 9.925. Oh, 9.925.
So if you want to get loud.
So nice 9.925 for Basquette. Bijak coming in 9.875. That all equated to a 49.375 for the Utah Utes. Ranked 3rd in the country in that event. For the BYU Cougars, Emiko Ono with a 9.850 to end it there. A very good, for only having 5 go, that was pretty good for the Cougars.
That is a great job for them. They had, their lowest score was a 9.65, and that is definitely an improvement for them. And I think that just goes to show how much stronger they are going to be and where they're going. And I think, especially for Emiko Ono, that is an amazing score, 9.85, and they've got to be proud with that.
Overall scores after 1 rotation, 49.375 for the U, and BYU 48.5. Let's toss it out to Robbie Bulla for more on Utah on the bars.
Well, Jeremy, that bar rotation was actually huge for BYU because in their last meet when they faced number 5 Florida, the bars kind of gave them a scare. Jamie Dietzkrieg had a near fall, and they had to count that score because Bijak actually did fall. Dietzkrieg is the only gymnast on Utah's team this season that has yet to fall, but her near fall gave him a lower score because of Bijak's fall, so that was a huge first rotation for Utah on the bars.
Yeah, thanks, and a huge rotation for BYU. Johnson, Lizoe, Merrill, and Ono set career highs there.
I'm telling you, these freshmen have really done a great job of just stepping up, and it just goes to show that they're getting stronger. They're becoming more consistent, and you know, it's too bad that it started so late in the season. You know, it's
right.
But they have next year to look forward to.
They've been pressed into action and done well considering the circumstances. BYU with their more experienced gymnasts, no seniors, but the co-captains and some other gymnasts that they were banking on, Megan Donahue, Mikkel Polson-Merkley, those kind of gymnasts. They're injured. They're out for the year. There were 6 of those. And BYU, some gymnasts not expected to get into the lineup are seeing all sorts of time and came in, and 4 of those 5 set career highs. So things can only go up for BYU.
Right, and some of them only had like maybe even a week to prepare a bar routine. Like Whitney Olson a few weeks ago only had 1 week to put together a bar routine. And that's hard because bars, you know, I don't know if people really understand the shoulder strength and how tired you get by the end of that bar routine to have that endurance and the strength to put together a decent bar routine that will score well. It's very difficult, so they've done a really good job.
Christina Basquette leading the way with that 9.925, and she has been great throughout her career at the U. A 7-time All-American, won the uneven bars in 2006 as a freshman. And there you see how she finished 06, 07, and 08, and 09. Currently what she is ranked. And so her strengths definitely all around and bars. You will see her do it all tonight as well, and just one of the best in the country on display in front of your television, on your TV tonight.
She is a great gymnast, and she has been so solid for the University of Utah, and it's, you know, they really count on her. She really carries this team. She and Nina Kim have been so good from freshmen through their senior years. They have been so consistent, you know, getting better gradually, but they came in very strong, very powerful, and they're going out the same way, just a lot more polished and a lot more mature.
So the 2 teams will switch. Utah will be on the vault, BYU on the bars.
Each team gets 3 minutes to have a warm-up. They call it a one-touch. So that's what we're kind of seeing right now, is each team getting their one-touch. Actually just finished, and we have Daria Bishak going up for Utah right now on the vault. And she has a very, very difficult vault. She actually does a front handspring entry with a front layout, which is very difficult to do. You see most gymnasts doing it in the pike position. We've had a lot of gymnasts change their vaults to a round-off entry because of the vault table, and seldom do the traditional entry, but very difficult vault that she does, and does a very, very good job. Has a lot of power.
BYU will start things off on the bars with Emiko Ono, and let's see if the freshman can carry that career high from the vault to something special on the bars.
Emiko's another one that got thrown into the lineup about 5 weeks ago, so done a good job and gotten stronger every week.
Yeah, thrown into action after Megan Donahue hurt her ankle before a meet, and she will have to restart. Scored a 9.525 in that meet, just thrown into action, and has been on the bar since.
And it's unfortunate she's had 2 falls so far. Luckily, this meet, BYU has Megan Donahue back in the lineup after her ankle injury, and not, you know, it's the best event to come back to because of the ankle. The hardest thing for her will be the dismount, but so they will not hopefully have to count this bar routine and have that luxury of having the 6 gymnasts and being able to drop the lowest score.
Yeah, Donahue, like you mentioned, will compete in the bars tonight. Her first appearance since that injury. But BYU at least getting her back. They had career-ending injuries, or excuse me, season-ending injuries for several gymnasts, and Ono disappointed with that, but BYU, unlike the vault, has 6 going, like you said.
So hopefully, exactly, they'll be able to drop this and kind of erase that from their memory. It won't keep that in. You see right here, she just had a little bit too much power and fell over on that handstand, and has to get up and finish that routine the best that you can, because in case you do need to count it, you want to have it the best that you can to pretend that you didn't have that fall.
For Utah, Jamie Dietz-Creek. You see her numbers for career and season. Career with would be 9.875 in that case.
Jamie does the round-off entry. Layout full, called Yurchenko. Start value at that vault was a 10.0. The judges are really looking for the distance from the vault table, the amplitude that they get, the placement on the vault, and the pre-flight, so the position of your body as you're entering the vault table. So there's a lot of things that the judges are looking for, and you'll notice Utah's very tight and gives very little room for deduction.
Now one of the leaders for the Cougars, Danielle Goldman, career and season highs of 9.75 for the Canadian. Has competed for Canada internationally. Chemical engineering major, has a twin sister. Not competing at BYU in gymnastics.
And Danielle's another one that was not expected to be in the all-around lineup and has done a good job of stepping up and competing for those injured gymnasts. And unfortunately on that Ginger was not able to hold on to the bar, and BYU will have to count a fall on this event.
Coach Cattermole saying, yeah, let's just stay on the equipment, because you're going to have deductions that naturally come even if you stay on the equipment. If you fall, you're asking for a lot more, and BYU is going to have to keep one now.
It's been a tough year for the Cougars on bars. This is probably one of the hardest events to get into and fill in those gaps that they've had with those injuries. So it's been a tough year.
And how tough is it once you fall to get back up and keep your composure, knowing you've already had a major deduction?
You know, some gymnasts are, it's depending on the gymnast. Danielle did a great job right there. You'd never know she had that fall. She gets up and finishes it very clean, very nice and very solid. And it's too bad they have that fall, because that is an automatic 5/10 deduction. And some gymnasts get up there and just are so ticked off that they fell. They get up and they do perfect routine, and that's unfortunate that they couldn't, but each gymnast is very different. But most of them get up there and have almost the attitude of, well, I already fell once, so that kind of takes the pressure off of falling again, so they finish with a great routine.
Kendall Robarts now for Utah. Robarts, 5'4" sophomore from San Marcos, Texas. Finished 10th in the country in 2008 on the ball.
Has a lot of power. We're going to see she does a round off back handspring with a half turn of pike salto forward, which is another different vault than we've seen thus far tonight.
Yeah, first team All-American last year in that event. Nice job for Robarts. Now for BYU, Megan Donahue returning for the Cougars in the final meet of the season.
It's nice, I'm sure, for the Cougars to have her back up on this event. She's been a great team leader, and to be back in competition, even though it's only on one event, it's got to be a great uplift for the Cougars. Back in the gym training again, especially on this event, it just makes a huge difference for their attitude and the rapport with this team.
Donahue, one of the leaders, and it really hurt BYU with that lack of experience that they were going to be there, players like gymnasts like Donahue and Merkley, but they weren't going to compete as much, so not able to carry them through like that. And good for Donahue to be in here for the Cougars.
And she does a great job. I saw her warming up, in warm-ups, and she was having a tough time on that dismount, because that's the one thing that's really going to get her. And here's a look at her release move. She has a Ginger, a little close to the bar, but does a good job of finishing up her routine. And look at her dismount. She does a giant full intermediate double tuck dismount. They have the big, thick 8-incher in there to help soften the landing, to kind of take away from that hard landing.
See that ankle mildly buckle underneath her, but she looks like she's okay. Nina Kim now for the Utah Utes.
Beautiful vault. Does it Yurchenko full in the laid out position. Was able to hold on to that landing. You can see when she lands, she has a lot of power going backwards and is able to hold on to that. Just does a very extended salute. So it does a really good job, and that's where a lot of experience comes in. You kind of learn how to hold on to those landings.
Maddie Johnson now for BYU. Career and season highs of 9.85. Just a sophomore for the Cougars to set a career high on the vault a few minutes ago. Great shots via our jib cam. Tonight we used it during women's soccer in the fall. Now brought it back out for gymnastics twice. Great angles provided by this camera up high and on the side.
Madeline's done a really good job of getting her form a lot tighter. She's very strong, not giving anything away, and doing a really good job in keeping the swing moving. And only as a sophomore, and you'll see as her years come through, this kind of a little bit of a push to becoming an all-around gymnast will pay off. Here's a look at her release move with Tkachev. And her dismount. Wasn't able to hold on to that, kind of took a step backwards. I don't know whether or not the judges will deduct on that or not, but does a really good job for the Cougars coming in after that first fall from Amiko and really having a solid set.
Now Annie DeLuzio, 5'3" junior, will go in the vault. 2007 vault runner-up in the NCAA.
Well, Annie actually just changed her vault. She was competing a full twisting Yurchenko, and it was really hard for her on her ankles, and decided to do the 1.5 twist, which she does, and said to Coach Marson, was like, I like that. That's a lot better. She said that she used to stand at the back of the runway and just dread the landing because it hurt so much, and decided to change it to the 1.5, and it's been a lot easier on her body, and has done a really good job. So whatever saves your body and you can do cleanly, the coaches are all for.
She had off-season ankle surgery, and that really got into her head as she would approach the vault there, but did a good job there. Now for BYU, Whitney Olson. Whitney, another one of the gymnasts that was kind of a specialist in a few events, but had been thrown into the fire, if you will. Just competed nicely for BYU.
She's a fighter on this event, that is for sure. She does a really good job of not giving up. A lot of gymnasts, if they're a little bit off or their swing isn't as strong, they'll kind of give up, and she's really done a good job fighting for everything on this routine.
5'5" sophomore from Gilbert, Arizona. Her specialties on the floor. Whitney Olson.
Here's a look at that first release move. She has it to Tkachev. And a double tuck dismount will finish off with the routine for Whitney Olson. So not as strong element-wise, but really does a good job of sticking the routine, fighting for everything, and staying on
the equipment,
like
which
Brad
is
talked about.
the bare minimum that Brad wants. Christina Basquette going 6th, final vaulter for the Red Rocks.
And doing the same vault that we saw Annie DeLuzio doing.
Wow.
Perfectly done. And you can see why she is number 2 in the country. She has such a strong, powerful run, which is a huge part to this having a strong vault. And you can see in the air she has no deductions, very tight, and just really nails that landing, which again, a blind landing, very difficult to do.
9.95. Finishing up for BYU on bars, Jennifer Lizoe, freshman who's shown great promise for the Cougars. Lizoe from Canada. and she has not competed in the bars this season for the Cougars.
So here we go tonight for the first time.
Final meet of the year. Go on the bars.
One thing I really like about her is she has such great lines on every other event that we'll see tonight. She's very precise and very polished, and that's very rare to see as a freshman. So having a little bit of a hard time on the bar routine so far.
Had a mild restart there, but a solid finish for Lizo.
So the Cougars are going to have to count a fall on this event, unfortunately, but doing a good job of staying strong and really fighting for it.
And that's been the theme to the whole year is, hey, injuries and experience. Sometimes somebody's going to fall. We only have 5, but you just got to battle through it. It's really tested the character of this Cougar squad. Well, 2 rotations down. We'll be back with the scores from that rotation, the total score, and rotation 3 lineups next on BYU television. McKay Jacobson, big expectations for him on the football team this year, and Austin Colley leaving, and I think the general consensus is McKay, step in and let's put up some All-American numbers, no pressure there. Utah Utes, second rotation on the vault. Bijak 9.9, Dietz Creek 9.825, Robarts 9.875, Kim 9.95, Deluzio 9.875, and Basquet 9.5. No career highs set or tied there, but a good overall vault by the Utah Utes. For the BYU Cougars, they had to count a couple of falls, or 1 fall, so they dropped Ono's score, but they had to keep Goldman's 9.1.
Well, they actually have to count 2 falls because they have Lizo with an 8.75.
Oh, excuse me.
Unfortunately, they do have to count those 2, only scoring a 46.85, and hopefully they can put that bar rotation behind them and move on to onto beam and have a solid beam rotation.
So far, Christina Basquet leading in the all-around, followed by Nina Kim in 5th place, and leading BYU, Madeline Johnson.
Madeline Johnson's done a really, really good job so far. I'm very impressed with her, the way she's handling herself.
Let's check out the floor lineup for the Utah Utes here in rotation number 3. Utah coming into the meet 11-1 on the season, averaging a 196.907. Dietz Creek, McAllister, Robarts, Kim, Basquet, and Deluzio will entertain us on the floor. BYU will be on the balance beam. BYU yet to win a meet. They finished second in a couple of tri-meets and meets with 4 teams, but yet to win one this season. So 0-18 if you compile it that way. But BYU on the beam, Villegas, Goldman, Johnson, Olsen, Lizo, and Kaylee Gallup. So a couple of new faces for the Cougars here in rotation number 3. There's one of the first new faces, 5'2" sophomore Jessica Villegas from Gilbert, Arizona. Redshirted after elbow surgery in 2008. You see that on the right elbow.
And coming up as a sophomore, you know, being first on any event is very nerve-wracking, but coming in on beam, where it's 4 inches wide, 16 feet long, is very, very nerve-wracking. So she really does a good job in being very confident and very solid on this event.
Villegas will also be on the floor in a few minutes.
You can see that she has that elbow brace on that right elbow from that surgery. Beautiful layout to immediate beat jump. Each gymnast is required to have a gymnastics series, which is the flight series, also a gym acro series, which is the gymnastics, the layout beat jump that she does, combining some sort of acrobatic move with a leap or jump. First Cougar to compete on the balance beam with a stick. Hopefully keep that roll going throughout the team. Dismounts with a round off 1.5 twist. And good start for Cougars on beam.
Now on the floor for the Utah Utes, Jamie Dietz Creek. Dietz Creek, a junior from Pennsylvania. Utah, the top team in the country right now in the floor exercise.
And you will see why as you see these routines. A lot of power. I see a lot of variety in their tumbling passes and their dance.
A little more personality comes out on the floor versus the beam vault or bars.
Yes.
More room for creativity. Against Utah State on February 9th with a 9.875. Villegas given a 9.525 on the beam a moment ago.
And a nice routine for Utah on floor to start them off. Here's a look at her second tumbling pass. She has a round up back handspring, double twist, immediate layout, step out. That fulfills the requirement of having 2 saltos in 1 tumbling pass.
Now back to the beam, and for BYU, Danielle Goldman. Goldman, an all-around competitor for the Cougars. 9.675 is her lowest of the 4 events, but Goldman goes on beam every time for BYU. How different is it for an all-around competitor versus maybe a specialist that just competes on the beam?
I think definitely the endurance level has to be a lot higher because they are competing on other events. You know, specialists, they have the one routine to focus on, and you know, sometimes it's hard for, depending on which specialist. If you're a vault specialist, you get it up and over with. If you're a floor specialist, it's last. So sometimes you have the whole meet to worry about that. As an all-arounder, you have each event to worry about, you know, event by event. But I think it's definitely something where they have to be a lot stronger endurance-wise and mentally because they have a lot more to focus on.
Goldman coming back from a major balance check, almost fell off, but able to stay up.
Danielle's been a lot more consistent. She looks a lot stronger from the beginning of the season until now. And that's something that you hope to see as the seasons progress from each gymnast, is from the first meet to the last meet, you hope to see that, you know, just getting better and having a little trouble on that dismount. Unfortunately, we'll have to count a fall for her. Hopefully, we'll not have to count one for the whole team. Here's a look at her flight series. She has the back handspring layout, feet together. Slight balance check. And here's a look at that dismount. She has the front full. Doesn't look like she gets that rotation around enough and finishing that twist, and just lands a little bit short.
Jamie Dietz Creek on the floor a moment ago, given a score of 9.85. Next for the Utah Utes, Kendall Robarts.
Next up on floor for the Utes, Kendall Robarts.
5'4" sophomore from San Marcos, Texas. Career high of 9.9. Just a sophomore. Just 2 seniors on the Utah Utes team, Basket and Kim. Very strong gymnasts. Utah, they're good because they continue to reload year in and year out.
And kind of how we talked about a little bit earlier, the floor is one of those events that you can really see the personality of each gymnast. Some gymnasts will have a very upbeat, fun floor routine. Some have a little bit more of the ballet type. Some get their bonus and their star values from their tumbling passes, and some more if they're more of a dancer. So it's fun to see the variety and the personalities come out, and it's more of a performance for them because they can kind of let loose on this event.
This is only the 5th time this season that Robarts has competed on the floor, but she has competed in the last 3 meets for Utah.
Nice job for Kendall. And take a look at that second tumbling pass. She does a round off whip to immediate 2.5 or double twist. And saves up some energy to dismount with a round off back handspring double pike. Very difficult tumbling passes. Does a really good job on that routine.
There's Maddie Johnson on the beam going 3rd for BYU.
One requirement on balance beam is to have a level change. Each gymnast is required to get down onto the beam. So it's kind of fun to see how each gymnast chooses to do that in their style of Maddie showing some flexibility and strength at the beginning of her routine to do that.
Johnson started competing in the beam in the 6th meet of the season. She's gone the last 5. Into Robarts a moment ago, giving a score of 9.875. She ties her season high.
Maddie doing a good job of staying up on that beam. Coming up after having that mishap from Danielle Goldman, it's difficult, especially on this event, to get up and have a solid set. Here's a look at her flight series. She does a front aerial to immediate back handspring. He has a slight balance check, so I don't know if that connection will count or not. It's very important for anything that gets bonus or for a connection with either be your leap pass or your flight series. If there's any slight hesitation, a lot of times the connection won't count and they will lose that value.
Now Daria Bijak, the German, waiting for her music to begin. 3-time All-American, battling a sore knee, but career and season highs of 9.9 in the floor exercise.
Daria is a very powerful gymnast. We saw her on vault, had that very powerful vault. She has a great floor routine. You can see that international come out in her with that, the way her style of gymnastics. She's very sharp and very polished. She has a great first tumbling pass that is very difficult to do and very rarely done. Double front to immediate punch front.
In terms of pressure, it's one thing to compete here in Provo, Utah, in front of this crowd, and it's another competing in Beijing for Germany with all that hype. So she brings that experience to the floor as well.
The one thing I love about her dance is everything is finished to the last movement. She doesn't rush it. Everything is shown off. Just such a great job. Catching a little bit of a breather before she finishes up this last tumbling pass. difficulty packed into that floor routine. Here's a look at that first tumbling pass. She does a front handspring double front to immediate punch front. In her last tumbling pass, she does a front handspring double twist. You see a lot of gymnasts nowadays doing a lot of front tumbling. They get a lot more bonus and a lot more difficulty. The elements are worth a little bit more, so, and it's a little easier on your body.
Whitney Olson going fourth on the beam for the BYU Cougars.
Nice back handspring layout for her flight series.
Bijak giving a 9.925 a moment ago. Olsen set a career high against Utah State, 9.825 in this event.
She does a good job. She had just that one bobble at the beginning of her routine after her ring jump, but does a really good job of finishing up the routine, keeping it steady, keeping the flow moving. Here's a look at her leap pass. She does a scissor leap to a straddle jump. And does a dismount. She does a gainer pike off the end of the balance beam. And does a good job of really sticking that landing.
Now Nina Kim will go for Utah on the floor. Kim, one of those two seniors, friends with good friends, best friends with Nastya Liukin. Liukin showed up in Salt Lake for a couple of days and came on senior night at the U, wore a shirt that said I heart Utah, and Liukin goes to Southern Methodist, SMU, so Kim has a shirt that says I heart SMU as well, and so they supported each other. Kim went to Beijing and watched Liukin in the Olympics, so a fun experience there. Kim competed with the United States national team a couple of years ago, maintaining that relationship, and Liukin saying to her as well, hey, during the summer, come see the trials and come see us compete again. And Kim and Liukin maintaining that relationship. Olsen given a 9.75 a moment ago on the beam for BYU.
She always has a big smile on her face. A beautiful gymnast to watch. Here's a look at that first tumbling pass. She does a front handspring double twist to immediate punch front. And puts some back tumbling in there. Does a round off back handspring double pike for her second tumbling pass.
Jennifer Lizo on the beam for the Cougars. Lizo going fifth. They will have six that will compete here. Here I have 9.875 for the freshman.
showing some flexibility on her mount. Hearing the crowd kind of ooh after that.
Pretty good crowd here tonight for both BYU and Utah, of course. Travels well. Just set the NCAA season attendance record against Florida. They drew 15,000 to set a season record of 13,861, which broke their own record from '93 and had the 5th largest in NCAA history against Florida. Not that kind of crowd here tonight, but a pretty good one for the final home meet for BYU this year.
Jennifer's doing a really good job on this beam routine, not having any balance checks, looking very confident up there and doing a good job of just moving through. Nice gainer layout.
This is Lizo's strongest event.
You can definitely tell. You would never look at her and think that she was a freshman, though, competing, because she has a lot of confidence and looks like she's had a lot of years on this event collegiately. Dismounting with a gainer pike off the end of the beam. It's definitely a different atmosphere competing in a club meet as opposed to a collegiate meet. You never have the crowds that you do in a college setting, so it's probably very different for a freshman to get up there in front of this crowd, especially when you're competing against the University of Utah, because it's definitely a different crowd.
Lizo has struggled at times this year on this event, but has finished strong last week, setting her career high against Utah State at 9.875, and probably a pretty good score there. Speaking of good scores, here's Christina Basquet. 9.925 is her career high on the floor, and currently ranked 13th in the country. Right now she finished 14th last year at the NCAAs on the floor.
And I will have to say, this is probably my favorite floor routine coming out of the Utes.
Lizo giving a 9.8 on the beam.
Opening up with a beautiful and high Arabian double front. This routine fits her, very suitable for her personality. A little sticking out her tongue to the crowd.
That was almost to our camera, playing to the nation right now. Yeah, she was looking into the camera there. And I'm sure with the level of competition that and the competitor that she is, bring on the crowd, bring on the camera. She's good, and she needs a venue to display her great athleticism.
Finishing up her floor routine, so round up that handspring double pike. And it was a great floor set. Looks very effortless. You would never know. It doesn't look like she's tired at all.
She's well beyond the point of worrying about what she's doing, but she looks like she's having absolute fun.
Look at one of her leap passes. Great flexibility and extension. The last time that we will see Christina Basquet competing in this center tonight. Kaylee Gallup for the Cougars on beam. She is a beam specialist, so this is the only time that we see her.
9.95 given to Basquet, who will have the beam with the Utes in a few minutes.
Beautiful flight series, back handspring layout to immediate back handspring.
She has great flexibility, and you'll see that in her leaps and jumps.
Gallup just set a career high against Utah State last week with a 9.925 on the beam. 5'2" junior from Houston.
Dismounting with a round-off double twist. And again, stayed on the equipment, so doing a good job for the Cougars, just having that one fall so far. Here's a look at that flight series. Look at that great extension that she gets. She has back handspring, layout to another back handspring, toes pointed, legs straight, and no balance checks. Dismounting with a round-off double twist. That was a good routine for Kaylee.
Annie DeLuzio will finish the rotation on the floor for the Utah Utes. DeLuzio, a junior, ranked 20th on the floor in the country right now. Career high of 9.95.
Has a lot of power on this event. Opens up with a triple twist.
Kaylee Gallup just given a 9.825 on the beat. DeLuzio set her career high 9.95 against the meet in which BYU was up at the Huntsman Center on February 6th. Southern Utah and Texas Women's University were there as well.
A great finish for the Utes on floor exercise. Take a look at some of her flexibility and on her leap passes. And here's that last tumbling pass. She has a round off back handspring, 2.5 twist. One thing about Annie that I really like in her twist, she has her legs are together side by side. A lot of times you see gymnasts where they kind of cross over like a little egg beater, but she does such a good job of keeping her legs so tight on all of her twists.
Rotation 3 is done. We'll be back with the scores in just a moment on BYU television.
My name is Tasha Bailey. I'm from Spanish Fork, Utah. My favorite event is beam. When I came here, I came on a recruiting trip, and I love the campus. It's beautiful, and I love the atmosphere and how great everybody is to each other. I love to read, and I love to go hiking. I like doing pretty much anything you throw at me. My favorite books to read are mostly nonfiction books. I like reading books that have to do with people's lives and what they've learned throughout their lives. My major is pre-management. I'm hoping to get into marketing in the School of Management. My favorite kind of music is alternative rock. I like to listen to things that are more calm and just kind of chill and relax, but I also love country and then some hip-hop occasionally. I love to go to parks and play and swing, and I like to go out to movies and ice cream and just hang out. The last movie I went and saw was Bride Wars.
Make sure it's not so ashy. My hair's blue! It's blue!
It was really cute. I like to give a shout out to my parents and to all my friends who have supported me through club gymnastics and especially my club coaches, Rich Trimble and Michelle Marziel.
Sports Center. Robbie Bellows with Utah head coach Greg Marsden.
All right, Coach, 3 rotations into this. Obviously, your bar routine was improved over Florida last week. So talk about your team here, your performance through these first 3 rotations.
Well, we talked about coming in and really taking advantage of this opportunity to gain confidence as we go into postseason. And we wanted to start off strong and just kind of build and get stronger and stronger throughout the meet. We've done that, I think, through 3 events. Now we've just got to finish it off on balance beam.
What kind of changes have you made as you prepare to head into the postseason with regionals coming up?
You know, the only thing that we're doing at this point is really working on our mental approach. We really want to feel really prepared physically and then psychologically let it come to us.
All right. Good luck, Coach, here with the last rotation coming up.
Thanks, Robbie. And Coach Marsden, one of the most successful collegiate coaches in the history of any sport in the NCAA. You talk about total wins, my goodness. 911, 156, and 5 all-time, 10 national championships, 292 All-American, 7-time National Coach of the Year. Coach Marsden is one of the best. So after 3 rotations, Utah leading BYU. Let's check out how both teams did in rotation number 3. On the floor for the Utes, Annie DeLuzio received a perfect 10 from one judge. She finishes with a 9.97.5. But a overall nice outing on the floor by Utah. Number 1 in the country, and you see why right there. On the beam for the BYU Cougars, no 8s, so a good thing.
I think they did a great job on this event. They're only, they get to drop Danielle Goldman's score. The lowest score they'll have to count is Jessica's, which is the 9.525. But with Jennifer Lazo and Kaylee Gallup finishing up with a 9.8 and 9.825, they've got to be proud with the way that they finished up that beam rotation.
Well, the Cougars obviously disappointed with the loss against Texas A&M yesterday in Philadelphia, and our Brandon Despain has some sound bites and reaction from BYU after the game.
Yeah, we gotta play hard. I mean, we gotta be able to play a sense of urgency since the beginning of the game, and they're a really good team, and give them all the credit in the world.
I think both teams wanted it really bad, and both came out and fought really hard. Texas A&M, they played really well. They shot the ball really well today. Unfortunately, we didn't shoot the ball very well, and we didn't execute the way we wanted to. And give Texas A&M credit; they're a great basketball team.
We had some chances, especially in the second half. I think we had 2 or 3 possessions to cut it below 10 and then cut it again, and we're just unable to make shots.
Lee was a great player for this program. He was our leader, and whenever we got into a tough spot, we can just get the ball to him. He go make a play for us, and that's something that obviously they're gonna be missing next year.
We're just looking forward to work hard this summer and get ready for next year to continue playing on in the tournament.
And it makes me feel just a little bit better knowing that Utah lost by the same margin, 13 today, 84-71 to the Arizona Wildcats. A final there. And so all 3 Utah teams, Utah State, Utah, and BYU, they all lose in the first round. And Utah State really messed up my bracket. I had them going to the Sweet 16. I thought that Utah would win in the first round. I thought that BYU, I was just over all over the place on that. Tune in tomorrow night as we bring you more men's volleyball on BYU TV. 5th-ranked Long Beach State visits the Smith Fieldhouse to take on the 8th-ranked BYU Cougars. The match begins at 7 p.m. Mountain Time right here on BYU Television. This is the place for BYU sports on TV. The only place to watch gymnastics for BYU, the only place to watch men's volleyball as well. Should be an exciting match tomorrow night. Don't miss it. So final rotation. Cougars will be on the floor. Utah Utes on the beam. And BYU hopes to finish out strong after a solid effort on the beam in which BYU scored a 48-5. And Utah on the floor scored a 49.6. Impressive stuff. On the beam for Utah, starting things will be Kendall Robarts. Robards, 5'4" sophomore. Didn't compete the first 3 meets of the season, but has in the following 7 meets since.
This is typically one of Utah's strongest events. Megan Marson, who is Greg's wife, coaches this event and usually one of their top and strongest events.
Right now ranked 4th in the country.
Nice leap combination. Beautiful front aerial to immediate beat jump. No balance checks. Kendall dismounts with a round off double twist. Here's a look at that front aerial to immediate beat jump. And she dismounts with a round off double twist. Great solid start for Utah on beam.
Make some noise for
Cal Merrill on the floor for the Cougars. Merrill, a freshman from Pleasant Grove. He's competed in every meets this season for BYU on the floor.
Opens up with a nice double pike.
Set her career high 9.775 up at the Huntsman Center earlier this season. Merrill on the floor.
Starts the Cougars off with a good floor set. Here's a look at that second tumbling pass. She has a front handspring layout to immediate front full. And dismounts with a 1.5 twist to immediate punch front pike.
Competing next on beat for Utah, Gail Mackey.
Gail Mackey, second on the beam for the Utah Utes. Sophomore, Canadian Olympian in 04, like we mentioned.
Has great shoulder extension.
Competed in 7 of the 10 meets for Utah on the beam, setting a career high March 6th against Arizona State.
Does a good job of covering up and keeping the beam routine moving. That's definitely the sign of a experienced gymnast. dismounting with a pike gainer off the end of the beam. A little bit shaky, but does a good job of finishing up her routine and getting it off and getting off the event with a stick. Here's a look at that. She's supposed to fully straddle the beam. She has a full twisting Corbett. And a look at her gainer pike off the end of the beam.
Second on the floor for BYU, Jennifer Lizelle.
Opens up with a triple twist. Back around, comes the other way, does a 2.5 punch front, has a little bit too much power, goes out of bounds. She dismounts with a front handspring front full. So they will have to count that out of bounds on the second tumbling pass.
Yeah, didn't just put a foot out, went way out.
Yeah, she went a little too far forward instead of bringing the front flip up to go a little bit higher than further outwards, but does a good job of finishing up the routine.
Next hitter on B.
Jamie Dietz Creek up third for the Red Rocks on the beam. Career high of 9.925. Dietz Creek very good on the bars and beam, an all-around performer.
You'll notice you don't see Greg Marson anywhere near the balance beam. He and Brad are similar in this way, where they do not like to be anywhere near this event. They like to be in the tunnel away from this event.
Majority of the Utah fans have compiled themselves behind the beam and stands there.
So look at that round off layout, feet together. And her dismount does a cartwheel gainer layout off to the side. Another solid set for the Utes.
Next up on the floor, give it up for Medline.
Randy Johnson on the floor. Go third. Villegas, Olsen, and Goldman. After her, here in rotation 4.
She opens with a round of back handspring double twist.
Career high of 9.825 on this event, no lower than 9.625 this year. One thing you notice from Maddie Johnson is she's not going to throw 9.9s up there consistently, but she's been consistently good in the 9.6, 9.7 range, and that's something the BYU's desperately needed this year in all events.
Yeah, it's consistency. That's one thing that they've been lacking, and that's what comes from being experienced and being a great competitor, is being able to be consistent, meet in and meet out, and having that so you can be that leader for your team. And being a sophomore, she may not have the difficulty right now, but having the consistency and being able to build on that as the years come and get stronger, her routines will get better, her start values will hopefully all be at 10.0 by next year. So it's a good starting point for her. And so look at her second tumbling pass. She does a front handspring, front full, front pike, and dismounts with a round off 1.5 twist, front pike. So I think Maddie's in the right place right now. I think she's in a good place, and we'll be able to improve on that and come in next year and be stronger and have that consistency to build upon.
Daria Bijak for the Red Rocks on the beam now, going fourth. Career high of 9.925.
And if you watch the Olympics this summer and watch the German team, you can definitely see her style, and they all have the similar style. Very quick movements, very precise, and they give very little room for any error. Great height and extension on that straddle jump. And dismounts with the front full off the end of the beam. Here's a little bit more of a different mount than we're used to seeing. She has a handstand, comes up onto her low back, and dismounts with the front full.
And Jessica Villegas on the floor. Villegas works the beam and performs on the floor as well. Sophomore, no seniors on this team. Handful of juniors, bunch of sophomores, bunch of freshmen, majority freshmen. Villegas, one of those underclassmen, a sophomore.
This is really her first year competing, though, with that injury, so it's almost as if she's a freshman as far as experience goes. And unfortunately went out of bounds on that. It is a 10th deduction for each body part that goes out, so that will be 2 tenths for her, I believe, on that tumbling pass. Here's a look at her second tumbling pass, where she has a punch front layout. Here's that last tumbling pass. Double pike and steps both feet out of bounds.
Now Christina Basquet on the beam.
Go, Chris. Come on. Come on, Chris. Got it. Come on, Chris. You got it, Chris. Come on.
Career best is 9.9 for Basquet on the beam, which she has tied 4 times this season.
Nice. Come on, Chris. Go, Chris. Come on, stay after it. You got it, Chris. Come on.
She's so light on the beam. All of her leaps and jumps are very light. Nice routine so far. Just had that one balance check. And she dismounts with a 1.5 twist. So Utah looking very solid on this event. So look at her fun mount that she does, a little bit of, guess you could say, break dancing for her mount. And dismounting with a 1.5 twist. Great height. And clean as usual.
On the floor, Whitney Olson, sophomore, and her specialty. Basquet given a 9.825.
Next up on the floor for the Cougars, exercise for Whitney Olson.
Olson, the 5th gymnast on the floor for BYU. Danielle Goldman will finish things. Nina Kim will be on the beam in a moment for Utah to finish the beam.
Whitney opens up with a double pike. You can tell this is definitely where she feels comfortable. And kind of relax a little bit. It's one event that she was planning on competing this year. Whitney finishes up with a round off whip half to front full. This is a nice routine for Whitney. She opens up here with a nice high double pike. And has a breather before she dismounts with a round off whip half to a front full. Landing a little bit backwards. Maybe a little bit of a deduction there, but does a really good job on that floor routine.
Now finishing up rotation 4 and the meet for Utah's Nina Kim on the beam. Set her career high last meet against Florida on senior night in the Huntsman Center with a 9.95.
They saved the best for last on this event, definitely. Nina is a beautiful beam worker.
Right now ranked 4th in the country in the beam. Things come a long ways for the Utes. Battled some depression after his sophomore year. Didn't really tell anybody. He came out kind of in a story in the newspaper last year. But has battled that and become one of the best gymnasts at Utah. A very consistent and good leader, and now is a senior. Nina Kim. And that would do it for Utah.
That was a great rotation for Utah on beam. They had some slight balance checks that were uncharacteristic of some of their gymnasts, but pulled it through and finished strong with Nina's dismount here with a round off 1.5 twist to finish off the rotation.
Those who make regionals will be announced Monday, and it depends on what your regional qualifying score is. How is that number computed for each team?
They take 6 of your scores, 3 of which have to be from away meets. They will drop the highest, and then they average out the rest of 5, and there in turn will rank you 1 through 36. The top seeds, they will seed out. So the top 18 will seed out depending on their rankings, and then the final 18 will be seeded throughout the rest of the country into the different 6 areas.
Danielle Goldman on the floor will finish the meet for the Cougars. BYU will not make regionals for only the 2nd time under Brad Cattermole. Next year, expect the Cougars to be right back there.
Danielle will be a senior, so look for her to come back and hopefully be in the all-around again as a senior. Taking a little bit of a breather before she finishes up with her final tumbling pass. Danielle dismounts with a round of pike handspring double pike. And that's going to do it for the Cougars on this event and for the meet. I think overall the Cougars did a good job on this event. They did have those 2 out of bounds, which were unfortunate. Here Danielle has her 2nd tumbling pass with the front handspring layout, and dismounts with a double pike. A little bit short on the landing, but she stays in bounds, sticks her routine. So I'm sure Brad's happy with that and the way that their floor rotation went outside of those 2 out of bounds.
Utah looking at a score in the 196 range, most likely. Tonight's event champions on the vaults, Nina Kim and Christina Basquette, both tied for a 9.95. The bars, Christina Basquette 9.925. On the floor, most likely Annie DeLuzio 9.975, awaiting scores from the beam. As BYU finishes their season at home. And Utah will find out on Monday where they are headed for regionals. Well, spring's a busy time on BYU TV. Here's what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Tomorrow, men's volleyball versus Long Beach State, all these times Mountain Time. Then next week, check it out, rugby. That's right, rugby against the Utah State Aggies. First and only broadcast of rugby and first ever on BYU TV. And then more men's volleyball against currently top-ranked UC Irvine. And then baseball will have 3 in 3 days starting on April 9th against the Air Force Academy. So check that out the next couple of weeks on BYU television. So BYU finishes the season tonight against the Utah Utes. Utah, meanwhile, will await Monday where they go for regionals and then on to nationals. And Utah going for its 11th national championship this season. You'd think you'd be disappointed at times coming all that way and going second so many times as Utah has, 8 times in their history. But Greg Marsden, their head coach, said, no, we're not disappointed at all. That's so exciting for us to just get to that point and be second. And they're happy with that, but I'm sure they wouldn't mind a national championship. Beam scores from the Utah Utes. 9-9, the highest from Kim and Robart. Basket, a 9.825, had a major balance check there that may have cost her a little bit, but other than that, a solid beam work from the Red Rocks for BYU on the floor. Danielle Goldman with the high for the Cougars of 9.85 in the final meet of the year.
You know, and there I think they did a good job. They've got their scores of where the lowest score that they're going to count is a 9.7, and that's definitely an improvement from when we saw them, you know, a few weeks ago where they're still counting 9.5s, 9.6s, and I think definitely they're moving in the right direction, and there's still a lot of improvement there to be made, and definitely the difficulty is not quite there. So I think that's definitely the thing that's lacking right now is the difficulty. Their start values, not all of them are 10.0, so they're lacking in that department, but doing a good job of really building on that.
Brad Catamola said, I think this is our youngest, most inexperienced team ever. This is one of those teams that's just fun to work with. They're good gymnasts. They just need to get a little healthier and get a little experience. Unfortunately, they couldn't get that health during the season, but they got the experience from those who needed it more than Merkley and Donahue and gymnasts like that. But next year, I think BYU's back in the mix, back in a regional, and if they perform at the highest level of their potential, they could be in a national. You never know.
Well, and I definitely think you have those 6 gymnasts that are out that are definitely in the lineup and have been crucial. So I think you get them back next year, get them back working out and rehabbing and getting stronger over the next, over the summer and coming back for next year. They'll just have that much more depth and be that much stronger.
Final totals from the evening. BYU scores a 192.725 in Utah. A 197.8. They end up with a very good score. And that is a season high for the Utah Utes. For the BYU Cougars, not a bad job either. It's a 192.725. That is the second highest mark of the season for the BYU Cougars. So a nice way to end the meet for both BYU and Utah. This has been a production of BYU Broadcasting. Martha Harper produced tonight's meet. Director was Julian Riley. Technical director Scott Hill, and Connor Clark was one of our many good handheld camera operators. If you'd like to see this again, you can check it out online at BYU.tv for the next 2 weeks. Also watch it Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on BYU TV on True Blue. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night at 7 p.m. for men's volleyball as the Cougars take on Long Beach State. For Robbie Bullough, Marissa Cosgrave, and the rest of our outstanding crew, I'm Jeremy Jordan saying good night from the Marriott Center.